Welcome to the Lisbon Sessions with David Russell of New Frontiers, exploring the Portugal Golden Visa journey with leading experts across the industry. This week, David speaks with Bek Suyumov from FinBek Advisors.
Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Lisbon Sessions with myself, David Russell from the New Frontiers Fund. We're here in the beautiful surroundings of the epic Sana Marques Pombal once again. I'm joined by Bek from FinBek, one of the leading introducers for Golden Visa and one of the leading assisters of people looking at the Golden Visa. Bek, we were just chatting earlier. You were saying that all of you guys are chartered financial analysts, so they are very adept at looking at all of the fund options and assessing which ones, New Frontiers, are the best, okay? In all seriousness, tell us, at the moment you've got a choice as an investor. You've got open-ended funds. Open-ended funds allow you to withdraw at any time. Obviously, you would no longer be eligible for the Golden Visa, but closed-ended funds allow you to make more money in terms of growth potentially, but you've got to keep the money until the end, like New Frontiers. Just talk us through the options so that everybody out there understands what they can and can't get into.
Okay. Well, David, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Great seeing you again, and thank you for the invitation. I think this is a fantastic opportunity to give market feedback, not only from the investors, but also from the fund managers. I was born in Uzbekistan, used to be part of Soviet Union, studied in the States for 3 years, and now living in Portugal for 31 years.
Okay.
In the 27 years of my career, I worked 16 years in banking, 6 years in insurance, and then in real estate. So it's a mixed type of skill set. The open-ended fund and closed-ended fund question is very good one, especially because in CFA, which is Chartered Financial Analyst, we study the both versions of the fund, and not many people actually know the difference, both investors and also some of the resellers, so to speak. Because sometimes in the Golden Visa selling process, you have the mistake of people that come from the real estate business, that were real estate brokers, after October 2023, when it's no longer possible to buy real estate and be eligible for Golden Visa, you only have the fund option. You had a lot of transition of real estate brokers into the
sort of fund space,
to provide solutions to their clients. Now the products is quite different, and I see many times our peers saying that this is a guaranteed product or misleading statements, which has to be we have to be very careful with that. We tell our clients, look, this is private equity funds, they're risky products. On one spectrum, you have term deposits that are, or government bonds that are almost guaranteed, and then you have private equity on the other side of the spectrum. Now, the investors naturally ask us, how do you choose those that are less risky, or at least preserve our capital, or at least the guarantees that actually what the fund will be paying will be paying that amount?
Yes.
To answer your question about the open versus closed-ended funds, we only work with closed-ended funds.
Okay.
We have analyzed how more than 35 investment funds eligible for Golden Visa in Portugal, and we have selected 6 that we are comfortable in working with and to terms of
put in front of the client for consideration.
And your fund, I should say, is in the top 2. So it's
there we go.
And it's a very good fund because it gives a very good return. A 10% return is very interesting, especially for non-residents who get it net of taxes. For them, it's very interesting. Another factor, risk evaluator, that we have in the formula is how will the assets be valued at the end of the fund life. That's why the closed-ended funds are very important, because we can assess how much the renewable energy panels, for example, will be worth in 10 years or 5 years from now. That gives the idea to the investor of what percentage of the money they'll be recovering. So not only the income that they're receiving every year, but also at the end, when all the projects are sold, what will I be recovered? Will I get my 500K back? Right? That's a big concern.
Of course.
So there's 2 concerns here: interest generation and the capital return. And in the closed-ended funds, you have that previsibility. And I say this because CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst, is a very daunting course. It's 900 hours of studies during 3 years of period, and you have to do exam level 1 after 300 hours of study.
It's no picnic.
Exam level number 2 in the second year, and then level number 3. Each year is 300 hours of study. And what we study is bonds, equities, derivatives, swaps, treasury bills, private equity, real estate investment funds. So it gives you a deep understanding and a broad and deep understanding into financial markets and financial world, which is completely different from the real estate that was until October 2023. So.
And that has been completely removed. Just what Bek is saying, real estate was removed as a qualifying asset class for the Golden Visa through the Mais Habital Bill, probably butchering the pronunciation. So you can buy a property, obviously still in Portugal, but you have to do the Golden Visa distinctly. So buy a property, do your Golden Visa, but the two cannot be sort of co-blended. In terms of, so that's an interesting point, Bek. So closed-ended is obviously how you guys have gone. What it effectively means to everybody watching outside, to watching this video, is that you have to remain invested until you get your Golden Visa. Basically, with open-ended, you can pull out during that course, but obviously it would negate the Golden Visa. Bek, in your experience, does anybody pull out of the Golden Visa process once they're in?
What happens usually is that the investors initially, when they start the conversation with us or with the investment fund that has eligibility of selling the fund, not us, we just introducers,
of course,
and talk about different options. Usually, coming from abroad, imagine you are a citizen of Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan. Maybe we mostly work in that area, or a lot of times
of course,
from the States now. You don't know Portugal that much. You don't know the person that much with whom you just met, be it a lawyer or another agency.
Another sort of facilitator of the visa.
So you kind of testing the ground, and in the beginning you want to see, oh, will I get my money back with the 500K at the end? What's the guarantee? How are you generating your income? If you're promising me 10%, how is it possible? So all these explanations, they have to be done a lot in the beginning for the clients to be comfortable and to understand the basics. Once they get in, at the time when they're getting in, almost all of them want to have the plan of pulling out earlier. So they say, okay, when can I apply for my passport? So the Portuguese law is very good because independently of when you receive your invitation for the interview and biometrics, the clock starts ticking from the date of submission. So even if you called 1 year after for your first interview, you already have 1 year that's credited, so to speak, in terms of counting for the 5-year period when you can apply for.
So even if there are slight administrative delays, you are still benefiting as an applicant anyway. The clock is ticking. So even if there are delays ultimately to get your biometrics, you're still in the system.
That's correct.
And the clock's still ticking. Once somebody's in the system, Bek, so once they are signed on the dotted line, they've got their NIF, they've got the bank account, they're invested in a fund. How many in your experience, let's look at it percentage-wise, pull out?
Okay, that's a very good question. Thank you, David. And I see that you have this experience almost every day with such as us. So obviously, the first step when the person decides to study the Golden Visa, I think that you should get advice. First of all, you should speak to your lawyers, of course. But most importantly than the lawyers or real estate agents, you should speak with your financial advisor because it's a financial product. And you can contact us and we can put you in touch with CFAs. We have CFA societies in 100 countries. I was CFA president of CFA Society Portugal, so we can put you in touch and together we can work.
That's very valuable.
First step is to get the Portuguese tax number, then open a bank account. That's correct, and then you apply for the. You make the investment. You choose your fund. You invest into the fund, and then you wait for 5 years to get the possibility of applying for a passport. Once you apply for a passport, then maybe in the 6th year you'll get your passport. Depending, you cannot make promises, but usually if it takes, assuming it takes
so around about then,
an investor may want to pull out in the 6th or 7th year. So it's good to have the comfort of having an investment fund that is in the range between 6 years and 10 years, because that gives you the flexibility for the investor to make sure that they get they have enough time to process everything. So I think 10 years is a very comfortable period. And in your case, the 10% is so attractive that what happens to our clients is that they, after 3-4 years, or when the date approaches of them pulling out after receiving the passport, they say, no, I want to stay until the end, because some funds, they give you very interesting return, like 10%. Other funds even can, if you wait until the end, they can even give you a bonus, so to speak, after they sell their assets or participation.
No, I get it. And just for anybody watching as well, guys, the New Frontiers Fund, we mature 2031. It is extendable, so we're not going to cut anybody off if they're still needing to be vested for their Golden Visa. That's not a problem. We'll be able to do that. And Bek, I think what I'm sort of alluding to is, I think sometimes people with looking at open-ended funds. Open-ended funds are slightly curtailed maybe in what they can invest in because of the liquidity they have to offer. Whereas I think with closed-ended funds, there's a time scale there that the fund is aware that they do not have to pay investors back until they've got their Golden Visa effectively, or until the 6 years of the fund. In your experience, somebody who's in the system, do any people pull out before they have their residency card?
Usually people that have not received their residency card, they don't pull out, and doesn't make sense.
Okay.
And also, if they do pull out, then they become non-eligible for Golden Visa. So one of the requirements, legal requirements, is that for you to have the Golden Visa or residency card for a period of 5 years, which you have to renew a couple of times during the period of 5 years. So first year, then 2 years, and then 2 years. You have to be invested. You have to stay invested throughout that time. So the closed-ended fund, in a way, that they feel like a comfort zone, both for the regulators and also for the investors, because there's a set time. So if it's 2031 or 2034, you know that there's a set time. If you are planning to pull out before, then the investor would be running the risk of not maintaining the Golden Visa status, and risking of not being able to apply for the passport. And we don't recommend pulling out before.
No, absolutely. So look, I mean, I think overall, obviously, I represent the New Frontiers Fund. I'm very pro closed-ended funds. People get the opportunity to make good growth. But at the end of the day, I think if you've made the decision to commit to the Golden Visa, commit to a range of funds that are closed-ended but give you the best opportunity to make the proper returns during the time that you have to be invested to get your Golden Visa.
Correct. Yeah. And David, many people don't know the difference between closed-ended fund and open-ended fund. Basically, the only difference is that in closed-ended funds, you have a subscription period, as you know. So let's say subscription period is running for 2 years, where the fund manager or fund promoter has a chance to invite investors to participate. And during those 2 years, the investor relations team, they go out around the world, and they invite people to invest basically into the fund. The open-ended fund means that there is no such a thing. So that means that people can come in at any time that they want. That's why, and there is no specific date, so to speak, for the fund to end. So they can decide when they invest in, and then they invest out. In the closed-ended fund, it's more difficult to pull out, or even impossible to pull out. In the open-ended funds, especially if it's exchange-traded funds, you can come in and get out. So there's less fixed control or fixed pre-established rules. So both may be eligible for Golden Visa, but the control mechanisms that will have to be implemented in the open-ended funds, which are the ones that are eligible, has to be a bit different, because they has to be, I don't know, maybe the regulators will inform us better, but every year maybe the investor will have to produce the proof that they're still invested in the fund, for example.
I understand. And they'll be curtailed in what they can invest in, obviously, because they have to be able to provide liquidity at a moment's notice, really.
Correct. Yeah, but more than this open-ended or closed-ended, I think the most important is look at the asset, look at the fund manager, at the team, and your fund has management experience of the renewable energies. You know what you're doing. the assets that you're investing, you can see the previsibility of the cash flows for the next 10 years. We looked at them in detail, and what you're selling them for at the end of the fund for what amount. So when I look at your fund, I almost look at it like a bond, because it's like everything that's related to infrastructures or renewable energies is
Of course.
closer to the bond, so to speak, and then just crazy strategies of let's just go buy so many shops and see what happens.
And it's
so
very
many businesses.
Portuguese renewable energy as well. So people are applying for the Portugal Golden Visa. Solar, wind, renewable energy is very inherent in the
Yes.
Portuguese mindset as well. And
Many people
so
maybe
you're
don't-
investing in something very typically Portuguese,
Yeah,
really,
many
which
people
I think
maybe don't know that.
is nice, Guys, thanks very much for watching. You've been watching another episode of the Lisbon Sessions with myself, David Russell from New Frontiers Fund, one of the leading private equity funds to qualify people for the Golden Visa. I've been joined by Bek from FinBek, one of the leading introducers and supporters of the Golden Visa program. Bek's a CFA as well, can talk you through all of the fund options. And as he said, New Frontiers is right up there on their list of investments for the Golden Visa. Bek, it's great to see you as always, buddy. Thanks so much. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching, guys.